Um, uh, Ayala, barangay Apokong. Terrible. Oh, noted na po yan. Ayala, yung ko lang narinig kay Ayala. Ayala Malls. Okay. Apokong, wow. Kaya parang kami na atang sunod dito sa San Isidro din run out. Sunod ata dito sa BS. Walang lesson eh. Okay. Okay, dito na tayo sa ating week 8 ng ating lecture po class. Okay. We're discussing ating cardiovascular system. So as you can see, na-lesson nyo na po itong cardiovascular system po class sa inyong phlebotomy and also sa inyong anatomy and physiology. Pabalik-balik na po ito siya class and also na-lecture na din po ito siya sa inyong high school. Okay. I hope na-lesson po ito sa itong high school kasi required po talaga yan siya ng ano po natin na depth po nating class and ating CHED. Okay. So, diba? Rina. And then ngayong class, ililesson po natin ulit yung cardiovascular system, but we will be mostly dealing kung ano po yung mga histologic tissue that we can observe sa mga different organs that we can find sa ating cardiovascular system. Okay? So that include class kung ano po yung mga different types of tissue that we can observe sa ating cardiovascular system. Okay? Because in the previous lecture po natin class, we have discussed kung ano yung mga types of tissues natin. So that is yung ating muscle, ating nervous tissue, ating epithelial tissue, and ating connective tissue. So all of these four types of tissues class, okay, we can observe it also dito sa ating cardiovascular system. Okay, so what's i-discuss sa ating class on the conceding lecture class, this is just a parang combination na to siya ng mga different connective tissue, different types of tissues class, okay, na kung asan makakombine yan siya sa mga different organ system po natin. Okay? Kagaya sa atin po natin sa cardiovascular system, may makita po tayong muscle tissue, specifically that is yung ating cardiac muscle tissue and ating smooth muscle tissue that function as for the contraction ating heart. And isa naman is yung diminution ng lumen ng ating blood vessels, and that is a respective function ng ating muscles po nating class. And also, yung mga connective tissue din tayo plus may kita sa ating may makita din po tayong tissue, connective tissue sa ating cardiovascular system that is located sa ating pericardium that encapsulates ng ating heart. And also may epithelial tissue din tayong ma-observe plus ating cardiovascular system that is mostly composed ng ating mesothelia and endothelia, and that is somewhat a specialized epithelial tissue that is found sa ating cardiovascular system. Okay? Then po yung epithelial tissue. And meron din tayong nervous tissue na observe class that is to control or signal ng mga different organ ng ating cardiovascular system as for the contraction ng ating heart. I-control po yan siya class, not as voluntary but involuntary only. And also may nervous system na tayo class that we can observe sa ating vascular system class, so yung sa ating blood vessels that also controls how the blood flow works, or ano po yung amount ng blood flow na ma-observe po natin sa ating or madadali po sa ating blood vessels po class. Dahil po yan siya class is may contributing factors po yan siya sa mga 8 type of tissues po natin. Okay? So, apat po na types of tissue na ma-observe po natin sa ating cardiovascular system. But we will not be discussing furthermore sa function or morphology ng ating class ng ating types of tissue because we have discussed this na sa ating preliminary and lastly yun sa ating muscle tissue. Okay? So, yung na siya class. Okay. So, ulit-ulit lang ulit lang tong cardiovascular system class, pero paiba din po yung parang approach natin how can we discuss this type of organ system. Okay? Unlike dun sa mga anatomy and physiology po class, class, ah. Okay. Iba po yung approach po natin sa mga ano po natin, sa mga different subjects po natin. For the anatomy and physiology, you can only discuss it to you can only madidiscuss lang natin yung ating position, nating heart, ano po yung mga different types of blood vessels makita natin doon. And then yung ating yung phlebotomy, madidiscuss natin ulit yun siya kung ano po yung mga different sites of puncture or different sites of puncture po natin for the phlebotomy. And then dito naman sa histology class, we will be mostly dealing or i-approach natin to siya by kung ano po yung ma-observe ng histologic layers or histologic tissues sa ating cardiovascular system. And what are their function, ano yung mga morphology po nila, ano po mga cells that we can observe there, ano po yung mga asan po sila naka-locate, okay? And then, ano po yung mga klaseng fluids or mga external factors that can affect also ng ating mga, ng ating cardiovascular system. Okay. So, let's move on sa ating lesson. Okay. Before we proceed, class, hindi ko rin nasabi kanina, nagkasalita na po dito, pero okay lang pa ba yung mic ko? Miss Chiquito, can you thumbs up lang sa yung camera if okay lang? Okay, thank you. Sige. Open ko lang yung aking slide a moment. So, cardiovascular system for the learning outcome for this day. First, we have to discuss each of the function of the organs found in the circulatory system. Okay. May different function po yan siya sa mga different organs, but mostly tatlo na po talaga yung organs na ma-observe natin sa cardiovascular system, and that is yung ating heart, yung blood vessels that carries the blood, then yung lymphatic vessels natin that is that carries also the lymphatic fluid po natin. Next, identify each of their tissue found in each organ. So there are different types of tissue that you can observe in each of the organ. Mostly they comprise of the 4 types of tissue, and that i-discuss natin siya later on sa mga conceding slides natin. And then next naman is describe the cell of each of the tissue of the circulatory organ, and that includes also kung ano din yung function nila as a whole or function nila sa makikita natin sa kanilang tissue. Okay? And also, lastly, is to illustrate the following tissue and their cells involved. So itong learning outcome na to, class last learning outcome is mostly related and dito siya sa ating laboratory activity po natin because ano ba yan siya? Lahat po ng mga histologic layers natin that we can observe sa ating histologic layers or histologic tissue that we can observe sa ating mga organ system and mga following organ system natin, we have to be familiar kung ano po yung mga tissue that we can find sa ating organ system natin because there's nothing more important, class, na parang madrawing mo yung natutunan mo, class, because this mostly as result as kung asa na-retain mo talaga yung ating na-retain mo talaga yung ating images or mga sample histologic layers ng ating organ system. Okay? So yan po sa class. So later on or sa next na laboratory activity po natin, dito draw naman din po natin po ano yung mga histologic layers na makikita natin sa ating cardiovascular system. Okay. So for the introduction of this lesson, a moment ng class. Check na natin. Save needs. For the introduction of this vascular system, okay. So the circulatory system or cardiovascular system, so this is a group of organs that brings nutrients, oxygen, hormones, and other needed substances to the cells of the body from various points of origin. Okay? So mag-start po sa ating nutrients class. So asan po mostly, ano po yung point of origin na na-absorb po natin yung ating nutrients? So that is yung sa ating intestines. Okay, so may mga blood vessels that are located sa ating intestines, class, that carries the absorbed nutrients sa ating intestines papunta sa ating liver. Okay, where ano pa yan siya, class, yan siya, may mga minor checking na tayo dyan kung may mga toxic substances tayo dyan or may mga nutrients tayo na kailangan nating ano yan siya, i-transform pa muna para ma-use sa ating body. And then lahat po yan siya class is i-distribute yan siya sa mga different organs po natin. Okay, sa mga sa lungs, sa brain, okay, that needs the nutrients natin, mga protein and so on and so forth. Next naman class, they also transport, okay, oxygen. Okay, asan po yung point of origin ng oxygen po natin class? Obviously, dyan sa ating ano yan siya? Dyan yan sa ating lungs, okay? Asan yung deoxygenated blood natin dadaloy sa ating lungs and then doon po magkaka-exchange yan ng ating gas, okay? Exchange yan siya ng ating yung carbon dioxide natin na expel sa ating mga cells is i-exchange siya ng oxygen, and that oxygen class is i-carry siya ng ating mga RBCs or sa ating blood that will be carried out sa ating heart, and then i-distribute siya sa mga different systemic locations ng ating body. Okay? So yan din po yung yan yung isang transfer ng ating oxygen ng ating heart class, okay, or nating cardiovascular system from the point of origin, and also yung ating hormones. Hormones class are just like nervous system. Ito po yung parang nervous system mo nating class, kung asan yung hormones is the neurotransmitters, okay? Transmitter from signals, signal to natin that activates certain type of organs that also activates kung ano po yung functions nila on that specific type of hormones, or yung hormones natin is sa neurotransmitters ng ating endocrine system. Okay? So by the word of endocrine class, so these are just glands or specialized epithelial tissue that that specializes on producing certain substances so natin. By the word endocrine, because nasa loob siya, okay? So mostly nagdadalo lang po yung mga substances natin only sa ating circulation o sa ating loob ng body. Okay? And then kapag tinawag naman natin as exocrine, that we have na kung asa na-discuss natin siya doon sa ating prelim po natin, which is with the word exocrine, ang substance na na-excrete or na-produce ng ating epithelial cells is na-excrete yan siya outside or away from the body. Okay? So yan siya class. So hormones class are just a parang ano yan siya, or has a wide variety of organs that functions for the different communications that activates mga certain functions ng ating cells. One example class, okay, but discuss natin siya later on sa ating endocrine system po natin. First is yung ating class, yung pituitary glands. This is ang pituitary gland is also a part of the endocrine system, or ito yung pinaka-primary organ ng ating endocrine system, which is mostly function as to produce or signals also other endocrine organs in ating class. Okay? So example ng hormones i-produce na ating pituitary glands is yung follicular stimulating hormones. Okay, yung etong FSH class is a certain type of protein na dadaloy pa yan siya sa ating blood vessels. Okay? Kasi endocrine ka, nakakabit talaga yan siya sa ating blood vessels. So i-excrete yan siya sa ating blood vessels, magsa-circulate yan siya sa ating body system. And with that hormone, dahil sa ating circulatory system, pagbaba niya siya specifically to the receptor on the specific organ. So yung FSH class is specific yan siya only to the thyroid, thyroid gland natin that is located dito sa ating neck. Okay? Or sa sa ating upper thoracic cavity natin. Okay? So yung thyroid po nating class, ma-receive na yung ating hormone na galing sa ating pituitary gland sa circulation ng blood po natin sa ating cardiovascular system. Pagbabayan siya sa receptor dun sa ating thyroid. And yung thyroid naman, ma-activate naman din siya ng kanyang na-activate siya ng kanyang certain function, which also yung thyroid natin is napoproduce siya ng mga certain hormones din, kagaya ng ating parathyroid or thyroid hormones that activate certain homeostasis ng blood calcium levels po natin, or pwede din po classes yung metabolism ng each of the organs po natin. Okay? So yan po yan siya class. So it's yung endocrine system natin is another parang signaling and signal organ system po natin. Okay? And also mga other needed substances natin na i-carry sa ating circulatory system that will be carried from various points of origin. Next naman class, yung circulatory system po natin, they also move excretory products natin or mga waste products natin. Example po niyan is yung ating carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide class can be excreted by two organs, and that is yung ating lungs and also yung ating kidneys. Hindi na po class yung lungs class nag-excrete ng ating carbon dioxide, but also yung ating kidneys. Pero yung kidneys class yung parang yung parang ini-excrete lang sa ating kidneys class is a form o it's not a form of carbon dioxide but a form of bicarbonate, okay, which is a mixture yan siya ng ng base natin and ng ating carbon ng mga base carbon na natin ng ating carbon dioxide. Okay, so yan po yan siya class. So every expiration ng ating cells natin kasi mga different organ system natin, and that is parang waste yan siya class, and that is also needed yan siya class, yung carbon dioxide for the exchange of gases natin sa ating lungs. Okay, so i-carry out din siya sa different organ tissues natin papunta dun sa ating lungs where i-exchange sa nating oxygen, and then pabalik naman ulit sa ating systemic circulation natin para ibigyan naman din ng oxygen yung ating mga cells po class. And then also ang carbon dioxide din class, they also has a function as to control the acid-base balance ng ating blood pH. Okay? So, that we discuss niyo siya sa inyong clinical chemistry. But as a production, carbon dioxide has a role for the to balance the acid-base balance ng ating blood. Okay? Next class, minimove niya din yung mga different waste and secretory products natin that's generated by the cells. So example po niyang class is yung mga metabolic waste products natin, kagaya ng ating urea, okay? Urea and then ng ating purines or yung mga uric acid, mga creatinine. That po yan siya class is just a metabolic waste product natin produced normally on sa metabolism ng ating cells. Okay? Accumulation class ng ating mga waste products sa ating katawan will result to damage to certain types of tissue. Okay? But, so ito po nagpapasok yung role ng ating circulatory system po class kung asa minimum niya itong itong mga waste products natin papunta sa target organs natin. Okay? So specific po dyan class na target organs natin is yung isa po niya sa ating kidney. Okay, kung asa yung kidneys class function to filtrate yung blood natin or yung plasma natin with the waste products. Okay, and kung asan ito po yung nagpo-form ng ating urine. Okay, and aside from that class, may disposal din tayo ng parang dinidispose din po yung mga waste products na naproduce nating cells papunta sa ating liver, kung asan kino-convert ng liver class yung mga dangerous toxic substances natin generated ng ating mga cells to a much more soluble and less toxic na mga products, less toxic mga proteins natin that to be carried out sa ating circulatory system and then i-excrete yan siya normally sa ating kidneys. Okay? So, yan po yung isang function din ng ating circulatory system po natin class. Moves waste products. And also class, circulatory system aids in fighting off pathogenic microorganisms not by production ng mga immune cells natin but transporting yung mga cells natin ng substances needed for the immune response. Okay? So yung mga different immune cells natin, mga lymphocytes, neutrophils, and then yung mga proteins natin, okay? Yung circulatory system natin carries out this immune response natin class to fend off or fight yung mga local infection natin or perisystemic infection kung sa pumalas sa ating katawan to fight off this infection. Okay? So, tinatransport niya po yung ating mga neutrophils class o mga macrophage o mga monocytes natin to the site of infection, and also included po dyan class yung mga chemotactic factors natin or parang mga proteins natin nagsisignal na eto may problema sa site na to, so dapat lahat ng mga macrophage or lahat ng mga monocytes and neutrophils natin pupunta dun sa site of infection na po yan. Okay? So, that is another role ng ating circulatory system natin in regards sa ating immune response. So, kapag wala pang circulatory system class, hindi din po or kung hindi po nakafunction na mabuti yung ating circulatory system po class, and that also contributes also for the immune suppression ng ating immune system or immune suppression ng ating mga patients. Okay? So, pwede po klasisalay po natin as immunosuppress yung mga patients natin na may mga heart failure din also. Okay? So, yan siya class. So, that is for the introduction of the circulatory system. And or function nating circulatory system. And also, may mga related system makeup din po tayo that we can observe sa ating circulatory system, and that is yung ating cardiovascular system, which mostly composed ng two organ system natin, which is one is yung ating heart po class, and then yung isa is yung mga blood vessels natin. So itong cardiovascular system class, they mostly carry out yung ating blood fluid natin that we can call as yung ating blood. Okay? So yung blood po natin class, I just discussed yung sa previous slide natin, they carry out yung mga different waste products natin, different nutrients, mga oxygen, and mga proteins natin that serves also to provide yung mga cells natin mga nutrients and to carry out waste products and to be excreted on certain organs. Okay. So, kinikarry po nila ng fluid class yung ating blood. And for the lymphovascular system class, so this is included also sa ating lesson, lymphovascular system has also a role parang kanina nakakabit din siya sa cardiovascular system natin that that also function as to drain yung mga interstitial fluid natin that is created during the during the migration of blood natin papunta sa ating capillary. Okay? So, lymphovascular system class, okay, compare sa ating cardiovascular system that is the blood, yung lymphovascular system carries yung ating lymph na fluid. Okay? Lymph fluid. So, lymph fluid class is consist ng ating lymphocytes na mga cells natin, large amount of lymphocytes. Included din dyan also yung interstitial fluid natin that is produced ng ating that is produced sa capillaries natin ng ating tissues, and also they carry also yung ating chylomicrons natin sa ating blood vessels sa ating lymphovascular system. All of which itong lymphovascular system class is parang drainage system pa siya ng ating cardiovascular system, kung asan na yung re-recycle niya ng mga fluid is babalik yan siya ulit dun sa ating cardiovascular system. Okay? So, yan po yan siya, class. Okay. Cardiovascular system consists of a heart and blood vascular system. Okay. There are three types of blood vessels that we can observe sa ating sa ating cardiovascular system, and that is yung ating capillary, veins, and artery. Okay? So capillary class carries both the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Ang veins naman class carry mostly ng ating deoxygenated blood, but not all vein class carries deoxygenated blood. Okay, some carries yung ating oxygenated blood. And yung ating artery class, mostly they carry yung ating oxygenated blood, but as same sa ating vein, not all arteries class carries the oxygenated blood, and that will be discussed later on. So, yung cardiovascular system nating class also has a continuous tube system that is mostly comprised of pulmonary circulation. Yung ating pulmonary circulation class consists ng ating circulations kung asan yung blood natin dadalo siya sa ating lungs. Okay? Kung asan magsastart siya dito class sa ating right chamber po natin papunta dito sa ating lungs natin. So, again, observe this sa ating image. Ito po yung ating lungs. Okay? So, papunta sa ating heart class, sa ating right chamber nating heart, dadalhin siya sa left and right lungs natin where ma-oxygenated siya, and then pabalik ulit sa ating heart. Okay? So, pulmonary circulation class is just a circulation papunta sa ating lungs. And yung systemic circulation naman class kung asan, kung ano yung na-receive na heart natin ng galing sa lungs, is i-experience siya ulit papunta sa ating different types of different organ tissues natin. Okay, so dito yan siya. So, the upper and sa ating lower tissue capillary zone natin. Okay? So, yan siya, class. Okay. So, yan siya, class. So, circulation po tayo and then seismic circulations. But, wala po tayong class, wala po yan dyan na kung nauna dyan, parang chicken and egg lang po siya na description. Kasi parang circulation po class kung asan, wala pong starting point, circulate po yung ating dyan class by the different circuit natin. Okay. So, unahin natin i-discuss class na sa mga organs yung ating heart. Okay? Wait lang. Block out. Ako dito sa amin, hindi ko pasok. Out lang siguro, hindi block. Okay. Okay, heart. So, heart is yung unang organ na i-discuss natin class. So, heart kasi sa hollow muscular organs, kung asan po yan siya, kagaya ng mga ibang heart ng iba dyan, kung asan deep from the inside. Okay? Which also na kung asan na ano yan siya, may mga muscles na tayo located dyan, and that's function ng muscles starting heart for the contraction. Okay? And that contraction serve as for the or serves as to propel yung ating blood natin to the different large blood vessels natin. Okay? So, located na siya sa ating central mediastinum of the thoracic cavity. So, thoracic cavity class is, ito po yan siya. Ito yung thoracic cavity that mostly distinct yung at lungs, okay? O yung cavity natin, yung mostly lahat ng chest natin. In central mediastinum class is located siya dito sa gitna ng ating dito po class, okay? So, ito yan siya. Sabihin natin asan located yung heart is from the central mediastinum. Central mediastinum kasi yung pinagitna ng thoracic cavities natin. And yung thoracic cavity is yung whole chest cavity po natin. Yan siya, class. Okay? So, located yung ating heart yung sa ating central mediastinum. Okay. Tapos sa location nating heart and then yung description nating heart. Next naman is yung chambers na ating heart. Okay, hindi ko lang na-include dito sa PowerPoint classes yung ano yung size ng heart because parang parang hindi na siya masyado importante sa ating lesson, but for the sake lang para ko siya ma-include ko siya. So, ang size ng ating heart is parang size na siya ng ating clenched fist. Okay? So, yan siya dito. So, parang yun siya sa sagyo. Okay, so chambers nating heart. We have two chambers na ating heart class that is separated by the septum. Ito po yung septum class. Okay? So, yung chambers nating heart has ating chambers nating heart class is also divided into two also. So, mostly may 4 po tayo na chambers po dyan class. Okay? Which is called yung ating ventricles, which is consists of right and left ventricle dito sa ating image. And then, itong ating image class is nasa harap po yan siya, or parang yung position nating heart is paharap. Kung asa na baliktad po yung yung position ng ating heart po dyan, or position or para pag-point ng ating heart. Tapos kung asa yung left image is consist ng ating right na ating heart, and then yung ating left, yung right image naman plus consist ng left part ng ating heart. Okay, so huwag lang po tayong malito po dyan. Okay? Because importante din po plus kung asan din po dumadalo yung ating oxygenated and deoxygenated blood later on. So, yung ventricles nating class consists of 2 chambers or 2 ventricles. So, that is yung ating right ventricle. Ito po class, right ventricle. And yung isa naman is yung ating left ventricle. Okay. So, ventricles class, okay, right and left ventricles is located sa ating heart inferiorly. So, meaning inferior na sa ilalim yan siya. So, ventricles natin located yan siya inferiorly sa ilalim ng ating heart. Okay? And ito class, pag-correct na po ito siya, pumps to the systemic circulation. Etong, po natin, ipakidagdag na po dyan, ating left ventricle po natin, ito. Left ventricle pumps the blood to the systemic circulation. Okay, systemic circulation, dito siya papunta sa ating large blood vessels that is called yung ating aorta. Okay? So, ventricle is located sa inferior sa ating heart. Okay? The next naman class yung ating atria. So, atria is located superiorly sa ating heart. Consists also by two chambers ng ating right and left atria. Right and left. Okay? Right and left. Which is, okay, dagdag dito class kung asan yung ating right ventricle po natin. Okay? Pumps the blood to the pulmonary circulation. Okay, pulmonary circulation. Kung asan kinikaryan siya pupunta dito sa ating pulmonary artery. Okay, kaya sinabi ko class, not all arteries or not all veins carries yung oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. Kung asan dito sa ating pulmonary artery, which carries yung ating this mostly carries yung ating anong tawag yan deoxygenated blood. And also vice versa sa ating left sa ating sa ating pulmonary vein, this mostly carries yung ating oxygenated blood. Okay. So ulitin ko lang class, ventricle, located siya sa inferior position nating heart. May dalawa po tayong chambers po dyan that separated by septum, and that is yung ating right ventricle and left ventricle. Okay? Next naman class, ang atria naman is superior siya na position ng ating heart. So that is, which is called ating atria. And also, this has also two chambers po yan siya, separated by the septum. Dito naharangan din siya ng ating blood vessel. Okay? Which is, pero hindi po yan siya yung ating right and left atrium po natin. Okay? Atria or atrium. Pero lang po yan siya. Okay. Yan siya. Now, next class, yung chambers po natin class, yung two chambers natin, yung right chamber and left chamber is separated by a septum. And that septum class is also specific naman din siya kung anong klaseng chambers ang sineseparate niya. Okay? So, dito po class, interatrial septum by the word atrial. Ang atrial is for the separation siya ng ating atria nating chambers, and interclass is because nasa gitna yan siya kung asan i-divide yung dalawang chamber po natin. And they are located, and this is located superiorly. Okay, nasa itaas yan siya because yung asan nakalocate yung ating atria, of course, sa superior position ng ating heart. Okay? Yan siya class. So, by the word interatrial, so gitna, inter, and atrial. Okay? Inter, gitna, and atrial. Okay? So, sineseparate niya po class, yung interatrial septum natin yung ating atrial chamber. Okay? And asa located yung ating atrial chamber? Nasa itaas ng ating heart. Okay? Superiorly, located superiorly from the heart. Next naman class is yung ating interventricular septum. By the word ventricular, so this separates, okay, this is a septum that separates yung ating ventricles po natin. Asan located yung ating ventricles? It's located inferiorly to the heart. Okay, nasa ilalim po yan siya. So, ano sineseparate nating interventricular septum class? Sineseparate niya po yung class yung ating ventricle chambers. Okay, that divides them to right and left ventricle. Okay? So, I hope hindi po tayo nalilito po dyan. Okay? So, ito po yung septum po natin. Okay? I can call this a septum class kapag, kapag as a whole ko yan siya i-describe. But, we can specify it kung ano po yung dinidivide ng ating septum. It's either pwede po atrial, kung asan dinidivide niyo po ating atrial chambers, or interventricular septum, kung asan dinidivide niyo po yung ating ventricle chambers natin. Okay? So, yan. I hope you understand, class. You have questions, you can raise it now. If not, you can PM me later naman din po. Okay? So, proceed na po tayo. Okay lang? Sige.
Saan yung galing?
Next class, Yung chamber suit natin, aside na separate siya ng ating septum, it is also separated by different one-way valves. Okay? By sinabi kong one-way valves, isa lang po talaga yung daluyan ng ating fluid po class. Okay? So each of the chamber class, each of the right and left chambers are separated or nadi-divide din po yan sila. Okay? Which is separated sila ng ating orifice. Meaning ng orifice kasi ito po yung ating butas na nagsiseparate ng ating atria and ng ating ventricle. Okay? So kapag sabihin kong class right, okay, right, ito siya, right atrioventricular orifice. So this is atrioventricular orifice. Yung orifice is yung butas. So butas that is located in between sa ating atrioventricle. Okay? So ito pa yung orifice natin. Okay? Orifice. Yan. Okay. And also, yung ating right atrioventricular orifice nating class, right atrioventricular orifice is guarded by the right atrioventricular valve. Okay? So, right atrioventricular valve. So, ito po yung class na parang pink or pink something. I don't know. Kailan talaga babae na maka-identify yung pink or red. Okay? So, ano yan siya? Separate yan siya na ating right atrioventricular valve. Right atrioventricular valve. Okay. Yan siya class. So, other name ng ating right atrioventricular orifice class is yung ating tricuspid orifice. Eh, bakit siya tinawag na tricuspid? Because yung valve that is located dito sa ating right atrioventricular valve is also called as tricuspid valve. Okay? Tricuspid valve. Okay? Kasi tinawag na tricuspid by the word tri is tatlo. Tatlo po yung flaps na ma-observe po natin dito sa ating right atrioventricular valve. So, we can also call yung ating right atrioventricular valve as yung ating tricuspid valve. Okay? Yan siya class. Tricuspid valve. So, for the orifice is also tricuspid orifice. Okay? So, for the right chamber class, they are separated by the right atrioventricular orifice or tricuspid orifice, and they are guarded by valve that is called yung ating right atrioventricular valve, or we can also call it as yung ating tricuspid valve. Okay. Next. Yung left naman class, left atrioventricular orifice. So, left atrioventricular orifice. Okay. So, ito naman na-separate siya itong pink na something. Okay. Right atrioventricular orifice. Okay, ito yung butas. Okay, which is we can also call yung ating left atrioventricular orifice class as yung ating mitral orifice or bicuspid orifice. Okay, by the word bi, because later on discuss natin yan. Also yung ating left atrioventricular orifice as yung ating mitral orifice, bicuspid orifice. They are separated also, they are guarded by left atrioventricular valve. Okay? Left atrioventricular valve. Okay? So, yan siya class. So, left atrioventricular valve is also called as yung ating bicuspid or mitral valve. Okay? I can refer to ito or reference sa ating Esteban y Gonzalez and sa ating Junqueras natin. Okay. Separate yan sila sa ating ng ating mitral or bicuspid valve. So bakit nang tinawag siyang mitral or bicuspid? Because yung flaps ng ating yung flaps ng ating left atrioventricular valve is only 2. Okay? Dalawa lang po yung flaps dyan. And also, one way din po yan siya class. Okay? Nasaan ako? Okay. So, ano pa yung function ng mga valves sa nating class? By the word, one way. So, this ensures a unidirectional flow of blood to the chambers of the heart. Okay? So, this ensures class itong mga valves natin. Since this mostly guards yung ating blood natin kapag napapump po yung heart, hindi po yan siya magpapump pabalik po sa ating kung pabalik ko siya sa ating sa original na location niya. Okay? So, isa po yung class, pag-pump po ng ventricle po natin, magpapump na yan siya papunta only dito sa ating pulmonary artery. Okay? By following only the arrow. So, dito sa ating left atrium po natin, kapag papasok po yung blood natin sa left atrium, dadalo lang po talaga siya papunta sa ating left ventricle, then pag-pump niya, pupunta lang o dadalo rin talaga yung dugo natin papunta dito sa ating aorta. Okay? Hindi po class na para pag-pump ng ventricle natin, babalik po siya dito sa ating atrium or dito sa ating ventricle, hindi po siya babalik po sa ating left atrium. Okay? Ganun po yung function ng ating mga valves natin. So this ensures a unidirectional flow of blood to the chambers of the heart. Okay? So, there are certain conditions class kung asan na dapat kung asan may mga problem po tayo sa flaps or sa valves ng ating heart, and that includes yung may mga certain infections so tayo that targets yung ating valves natin. Okay, so kung may problem po tayo sa ating heart, it also disrupts yung unidirectional flow ng ating blood po class. So example po class na may problem tayo sa ating valve, okay, is yung infection po ng ating streptococcus pyogenes, which is yung may M protein po tayo. I-discuss yung bacteriology. Actually, may bacteriology pa kayo ngayon? Okay, sige. So, na-discuss yun ng streptococcus organism. Na-discuss yun na bang streptococcus organism? Wala pa. Okay, wala pa. Okay, ano na to? Advanced learning na to. So, streptococcus organism has, streptococcus pyogenes has a relative medical application or may relative disease so tayo regarding dun sa natin sa mga valves natin, sa mga one-way valves, because may certain protein po tayo that is found sa ating pyogenes kung asan nakikita siya ng same antigenicity or parang may same yan siya ng parang target ng mga antibodies natin. Familiar naman siguro kayo ng antibodies, di ba? So, antibodies natin, paths of infection. So, kaya hindi wala siyang pinipili basta kung ano yung specific na parang target niyan, doon lang yan siya. But yung M protein ng ating streptococcus pyogenes natin has the same antigen na makikita natin sa ating heart. Okay, so kung itong antibodies natin dadaloy sa ating heart, target niya yung o sisirain niya yung ating valves natin, and then masisira na po yung unidirectional flow ng ating o pag-pump ng ating heart. Okay? So, yan po yan siya. So, may relation po yung streptococcus pyogenes natin dun sa ating morphology ng ating mga valves natin sa ating heart. Okay. And aside from that, in certain conditions kagaya nating Marfan syndrome, familiar ba kayo sa Marfan syndrome? Ito yung natin na parang disease na ating isang individual kung asan may abnormal elongation siya ng kanilang connective tissue. Okay, or parang may normal elongation siya sa mga limbs po niya, class. So, related to siya, class, sa ating relative to siya sa ating what do you call this? Related sa ating valves because kapag sobrang may elongate pa yung ating connective tissue, class, which is this is also composed sa ating valves natin. Pag sobrang may elongate siya, class, yung normal na pag-close ng ating valves ganito. Okay? Pero kung may Marfan syndrome po tayo, may abnormal elongation tayo ng mga certain connective tissue, so mangyayari po sa ating valve, sa ating sa ating heart is magganito siya, mag-overlap siya. Okay? So pag ganyan niya, class, tawagan yan. So pag close po, class, hindi siya mag-close thoroughly because magkaroon siya ng parang open space in regards sa incomplete closure because pag-overlap ng natin ng valves natin, class. So this could also pose a problem or may pose a heart condition in certain individuals with Marfan syndrome that certainly that they can affect their physical activity because hindi po normal yung pag-pump ng blood sa ating heart. Okay. Next, There are also certain blood vessels that's connected to different chambers ng ating heart. Okay, iba po yung blood vessels na connect sa ating right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, and ating left ventricle. Okay, so we'll be discussing that dito sa ating lesson. Okay, so yung kakonect po sa ating right atrium class, asing right atrium dito po, okay, right atrium receives blood, okay, or continuous yan siya sa ating superior and inferior vena cava. Okay, by the word superior and inferior, pag superior, ibig sabihin this is nasa itaas to siya na ano po natin, na veins po natin, which mostly receives ng deoxygenated blood that located sa ating upper body. And then yung inferior vena cava naman class, so these are these veins carries out blood that is located naman sa inferior or inferior position ng ating body or sa ilalim portion ng ating body class. And that is yung superior and inferior vena cava classes are connected yan siya dito sa ating right atrium. As in right atrium, dito po class. The next, after sa right atrium, pupunta yung blood natin dito sa ating sa ating right ventricle. Okay, right atrium to right ventricle. And that right ventricle class is connected yan siya sa ating pulmonary trunk, or we can also call it yung ating pulmonary artery, which yung ating right ventricle, pinapump na yung deoxygenated blood natin dito, papunta dito sa ating pulmonary trunk. Okay? So, na yung nakakonect na right ventricle sa ating heart class, that is yung ating pulmonary trunk or pulmonary artery. Pero lang po yan sila class. Okay. Next naman, yung pulmonary vein naman class. Pulmonary vein is continuous yan siya sa ating left atrium. Saan yung left atrium? Dito po class. Left atrium. Okay, left atrium. So, left atrium class receives the pulmonary vein or the oxygenated blood that comes from the lungs. Okay, so mag-receive yan siya ng pulmonary veins natin, this right and left pulmonary veins. Okay, then after nyan class, ipupunta siya dito sa ating left atrium, magpapump yung heart natin. And after pump, pupunta siya dito sa ating left ventricle, which yung ating left ventricle, ano po yung nakakonect sa kanya blood vessels is called this yung ating aorta, or ito yung pinaka-large artery natin sa ating blood vessels. Okay? So, left ventricle is connected din siya dito sa ating aorta. Okay? So, ulitin ko lang. Ano po yung nakakonect sa ating right atrium? So, that is yung ating superior and inferior vena cava. And then yung right ventricle naman, class, ano yung nakakonect sa kanya na blood vessels? And that is yung ating pulmonary trunk or pulmonary artery. Ano yung ating left atrium, class, na nakakonect sa kanila na large blood vessels, yung ating left and right pulmonary veins. Okay, pulmonary veins, pulmonary because it's nag-originate din siya sa ating lungs. And then yung left ventricle naman, class, na nakakonect sa kanya ng ating blood vessel is yung ating aorta. Okay, so simple as that. But you can you can create yung ano pang gusto niyo na ano dyan. Parang mnemonics nyo, depende na yun sa inyo, but mostly by the word itself, ito na po talaga yung ating yan siya, mga different vessels connected sa ating chambers. Okay. Next naman class, meron din po tayong another naman na orifice, okay? That is mostly located yan siya or connected yan siya sa ating large blood vessels na ating ventricles. Okay? Ventricles and large blood vessels. Okay? Large blood vessels po to class, itong aorta natin, and yung pulmonary artery natin, this is also called as yung ating large blood vessels. Okay? So, semilunar orifice class consists of a pulmonic orifice. Meaning ng pulmonic orifice class, so asan yung pulmonic artery po natin? Ito. So, by the way, orifice, butas yan siya. Butas na konektado sa ating right ventricle. Okay? So, sino po yung nagpapump ng deoxygenated blood papunta sa pulmonic artery? That is yung ating right ventricle. Okay? So, kindly memorize yung class kung anong blood na pinapump ng ating mga chambers po class and kung ano yung nakakonect ng mga blood vessels natin, because that is included niya siya sa inyong exam and sa mga quizzes po ninyo. Okay. Tayo. Okay, yun siya. So, right ventricle, ito, pulmonary artery, and they are divided by the orifice or pulmonic orifices located in between of them. So, ito po yung pulmonic orifice po natin. Ito po class. Okay? Pulmonic orifice. The next naman class is yung ating left ventricle. So left ventricle class is connected din siya sa ating aorta, which is separated dyan siya, or may butas o tayo dyan, or yung orifice na tayo dyan, that is called sa ating aortic orifice, whatever aortic orifice, connected sa ating left ventricle. Okay? So left ventricle, connected sa ating aorta, so nag-divide sa kanila po classes yung ating orifice, which is yung tinatawag natin as yung ating aortic orifice. Okay. Next naman class, yung ating semilunar orifice, like yung sa ating atrioventricular orifices natin, they also separated by valves or one-way valves natin. Okay? So ano pa yung one-way valves natin? Same lang sa ating pangalan sa ating orifice. Kapag pulmonic orifice, ang valves natin dyan is yung ating pulmonic valve. Okay? So ano yung nagseparate sa ating nagseseparate sa ating pulmonic orifice? Pulmonic right ventricle. Okay, sineseparate din siya natin pulmonic valves. Ano yung pulmonic? Asan ba na yung pulmonic valves? Eto. Okay? Pulmonic valves. So ano yung valves na makita natin sa pulmonic orifice? Pulmonic valves. Simple as that. And also sa ating aortic orifice class, ano yung valve na nagsiseparate sa ating aortic orifice, and that is yung ating aortic valves. Okay? Aortic valve. Ulitin ko lang class ha. Semilunar orifices consist nating pulmonic orifice, and aortic orifice. Dito po class, ating left ventricle to the aorta, pulmonic orifice, right ventricle to the pulmonic artery. And they are separated by semilunar valves, okay? Where it is, kung ano yung makikita natin sa semilunar orifice is also called as yung ating pulmonic valve natin. And then for the aortic orifice is separated by a valve that is so-called as yung ating aortic valve. Okay? So, I hope madali lang po yan siyang memorizing kung ganyan po class. Okay, so I think we should stop here class because we are now pressed on time, and then meron pa po akong tawagan niya, klase pa sa ating laboratory. Okay? So, ito siya class, we should stop here. Okay? Provided na po yung PowerPoint po natin sa inyong Schoology, and then provide na po ako later ng ating recorded lecture po natin for this lesson. Okay? Ayan siya class. So, later on, kindly ready yourself for the quiz, okay, para sa ating week 7 muscle tissue. Okay, so before we end our class, kindly turn on first your camera for our attendance.